Welcome back to GMP Scenario, presented by PharmaContentLabs.com, where we break down common GMP mistakes, inspection risks, and the small control gaps that turn into big observations.
You know that feeling, right? You've been through a tough deviation, you've done all the work, checked all the boxes, you close out the paperwork, and you finally breathe a sigh of relief. Problem solved. But what happens when it comes right back? Today, we're diving into one of the most critical and, frankly, one of the most misunderstood parts of the whole CAPA process: effectiveness verification. Let's get into it.
It always starts with a story that's probably a little too familiar, a scene that I'm sure has played out for so many of us.
You know the drill. Something goes wrong, a deviation happens. So a CAPA, a corrective and preventive action, gets opened. The team gets to work, actions are completed, people get retrained, and of course, the standard operating procedure gets that all-important update. On paper, everything looks absolutely perfect.
And since all those action items are neatly checked off, the CAPA is officially closed, file it away, job done. Or is it?
Yeah, not so much. A few weeks go by, maybe a couple of months, and then there it is. The exact same problem popping up all over again. Suddenly, all that hard work feels like it was for nothing.
So quality assurance comes around asking the million-dollar question, hey, was the effectiveness of this CAPA ever actually verified? And then you hear that classic response, the one we've all heard before. Well, we closed it because all the actions were complete. That single sentence, right there, that's where the whole system breaks down. And this gets to the heart of the matter. Are we just here to close paperwork, or are we actually here to close out real risk? Let's unpack what's really going wrong here. You see, it really comes down to two very different mindsets. The wrong way? That's when you close the CAPA the second the actions are implemented. All that really means is you've finished the paperwork. The right way is to close it only after you have proven that those actions were effective. That's how you close the risk.
This mistake is so common it actually has a name: closure failure. And you have to understand, under good manufacturing practices, GMP, this isn't just seen as some administrative oversight. It's considered a fundamental failure to control risk, which is a much, much bigger deal.
So why is this so critical? Well, because it's not just about our internal processes. It's about meeting a very clear, very firm expectation from regulators. See, regulators don't just expect you to react to problems. They expect your CAPA system to be a powerful tool that actively prevents those same issues from coming back again and again.
And that effectiveness check, it's not just another form to fill out. It is your hard evidence. It's the objective, documented proof you're going to hand to an inspector to show that you've got this problem under sustained control.
Okay, so we get the problem, we get why it matters. The good news is there's a really clear three-step solution to make sure you can prove that your fixes actually work.
It all boils down to three simple questions. Number one, what does success even look like? Number two, how long are we going to watch this to make sure it's working? And number three, what do we find and what's the final verdict? Let's break those down.
So step one is all about defining measurable criteria, and you got to do this before you close anything. You can't just feel like it's working. You need cold, hard data. Are your deviation trends dropping? Are your internal audit results getting better? Are the key process metrics staying where they should be? Are you seeing fewer customer complaints? These are the kinds of data points you need to define right from the start.
All right, step two, setting that review window. This isn't just a random number you pick out of a hat. It has to be based on risk and how often the process even runs. You know, for something that happens every single day, maybe 30 days is plenty. For most standard things, you're probably looking at 60 or 90 days. But for those really slow-moving signals, you might need a much, much longer window to get any meaningful data at all.
And that brings us to step three, documenting the outcome. Once your review period is over, you take all that data and you compare it against the criteria you set back in step one. And then you have to make a call, and you have to explain why. Do you keep monitoring? Do the actions maybe need a little adjustment? Or, hey, was the fix just not effective, meaning you've got to reopen the whole CAPA? Whatever you decide, it has to be written down with a clear rationale.
And that documentation, it's absolutely everything. It's the story you're going to tell an inspector. So what exactly needs to be in that story? Let's go through the essential checklist.
Your file needs to be bulletproof. It needs to have the effectiveness plan itself, what you said you were going to measure. Then, the actual data you reviewed. After that, clear, unambiguous conclusions from that data.
You also need a record of any follow-up actions you took. And this is a big one. For high-risk issues, you need proof that management was in the loop on the final outcome.
Because at the end of the day, all of this preparation, all of this work, it all leads to one moment, when an inspector is sitting across the table from you and starts asking questions. The real question is, are you ready?
So what's the #1 rookie mistake? It's closing the CAPA record on the very same day that the last action was implemented. To an inspector, that is a huge, flashing red light.
And trust me, inspectors always check for this. It's one of the first things they look for when they're auditing a CAPA system because it tells them almost instantly if your focus is on paperwork or on actually reducing risk.
So I'm going to leave you with this one final thought to take with you. When that inspector is sitting in your conference room and they look you right in the eye and ask, how did you prove this fix actually worked? What are you going to show them? An action plan full of check marks or the hard data that proves you truly and finally close the risk?
If this helped, like and subscribe.